Hi and welcome to this new edition of Torcast. We are here in Hogganvik Village and with me today is Gerda from Germany. Hello Gerda.
Hello.
So, you're from Germany and you have relations to Hogganvik. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and where you come from?
Yeah, I'm 19. I have now finished school this summer. And I've grown up in a pretty similar village to this. It's like an antroposophical village, like not really like Camp Hill, but very similar. So, yeah, I really enjoy coming here. And, yeah.
Antroposophic. Can you say something more about what is antroposophic? Just a general idea.
Well, antroposophy is more based on Steiner, and Camp Hill is like based on Karl König. So I suppose that's a difference. But like Karl König took many ideas from Rudolf Steiner, so it is pretty much the same actually.
Okay. And you just finished elementary school, primary school. What do you call it? Gymnasium.
Yeah, gymnasium. It is, yeah.
And in Germany, you went to what type of school did you go to in Germany?
I went to a Waldorf school in Germany, but in that part of Germany where I live, it is not allowed, like from the state, to do the finals in a Steiner school, like with that like schedule from the Steiner school. So we actually got like the schedule and so from the state school. So it was basically a state school from the last 3 years on.
Okay. But prior to those last 3 years, it was more like a Waldorf school, you say?
Yes, completely, yeah.
Okay, so my relation to Steiner school or Waldorf school is when I was in... there have been a few different occasions where I visited schools that were Steiner or Waldorf schools, and my impression is that the individual is more in focus, you could say, and I've been visiting some of the classrooms and looking at what kind of tasks they're working on, and the idea for me with conventional Norwegian school, ordinary school system, to see that people in 3rd or 4th grade, 8 or 9 or 10, and they work on Zarathustra. Who was Zarathustra and Nietzsche, I guess. Or Zarathustra anyways. And I was so impressed by that because I was not introduced to a Zarathustra before I was, almost 20, I guess. So, I've done some discoveries within myself, within seeing. What would you say is the major or more distinguished difference between the state school and the Waldorf Steiner school?
Well, I think it is partly in how the teachers learn to see their pupils, and also partly in just the lessons, what one actually does in the lessons. So it's two pieces actually. The best Waldorf teacher for low classes I met, she wasn't my class teacher, she was my brother's class teacher, and she was amazing. She still knows every birthday of every pupil she has ever had. She remembers every date, and it's crazy because she really tries to know her students, and not only their grades and how good they are in class compared to the others, but just know them, and also know what the steps they go in their when they develop. So
process.
She much rather watches the process of the single student.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very important part of being a Waldorf teacher. And the other thing is, like you said, that in lower classes we already started also with ancient history and also with many German poets we just learned the poems, and actually it helped us because in 11th class or so, our teacher, who was going through the state school schedule, he was so pleased because we knew so many poems, because he was so happy that we knew them already, because that's just it's what is it in German, it's called Allgemeinbildung, so it's just that you have a surrounding knowledge of many different things. So
So in the Waldorf, do you say Waldorf school or do you say Steiner school?
Well, in German we say Waldorf school, but I've gotten used to saying Steiner school in English.
Okay.
So.
But they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, actually they're
pretty
the
much
same.
the same.
Yeah.
So, Waldorf school, it's more like, what shall I say, nurturing that creation within the individual that is the focus, more than the collective, you would say. Would you say that?
Yeah, it like one learns as a child to like be oneself as an individual, but also like to function in a group of many different individuals and to be able to see that like already, because one can learn from being a small child on that there are people who have strengths and weaknesses, and that one like has to take care of them also in a group. So a group consists of many individuals, but it can still work together. I think my teacher was actually very good at that. She, like, many parents didn't like her because she was not really following like the schedule for what we should learn, so partly we were a bit slower, but we really learned to function together as a group, and one could still see that like now in the final years that we were just those that I knew from first class on, like we just worked together, everybody knew what we were good at, so it really was effective.
Interesting. What I remember most from my well, there are many things that peek out with my school years, but what I look at now and back in the days in perspective is that competition, the piece of competing that I look at, and how we were taught to compete in almost all subjects. We were graded as how well we could perform in that specific curriculum and topic. How would you see that there is competing or a what shall I say, a non-presence of competing in Waldorf school? What do you think about that?
Well, I suppose it is definitely there, just because like it is usually there also with children, like saying like, oh, I'm better at this and I'm better at this, and I was like a very shy child, so I also did have difficulties. I didn't like speaking out in class when I was small. Like it took me maybe until 8th class or so until I would actually like enjoy raising my hand and actually saying something before the whole class. But so on the one hand I was very scared of like standing out and like other people looking at me, but on the other hand I always felt actually safe to go to school because I had my friends and I was not scared of the people in class actually, or I was not scared of being different from them, because somehow we learned to, or very early we learned to accept that people are different. So there was maybe not so much competition, I believe.
I just read in Norwegian antroposophic magazine that there are about 1,000 Waldorf schools or Steiner schools in the world on all continents. And I honestly thought there were more, to be honest. I think that has to do with my, what shall I say, discovery of myself and potential and perspective. For me, having moved into a Hogganvik Village and really taken to me a lot of that, what shall I say, essence or mindset of the antroposophic idea. And also investigating more like that, like topics like reincarnation, and which is one of the tipping points, I would say, in understanding differences that antroposophy might represent, that reincarnation represents. But so for me to see that, I mean, would you be in favor? I mean, how is it in Germany? If parents choose to not have the children at school at all, can they teach at home in Germany?
No, that's not at all allowed.
Not allowed at all?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a law that one has to go to school. And like I understand both sides, because I mean, it is very important like to learn to be in a group and to also speak in front of people, and I think that you learn that in school. But on the other hand, like sometimes when I look at schools, I just think like, oh my god, if I ever have children, I actually don't want to send them to like school if they are still like they are now.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, hmm. So would you like to see that there could be freedom for that? I mean, for parents to stay home and teach the children themselves, homeschooling basically. Would you like to see that, or what are your ideas about homeschooling?
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose for some people it will be good and beneficial. Like I can actually only say it from my view, and I have always functioned well in big groups. So I suppose I would have been pretty unhappy learning alone at home.
Okay.
Like I enjoyed those. Like 1 year, I actually had like school days that were every day until 4. I think 5 days a week, and I actually really enjoyed that. Like I didn't have a problem with being with all my friends all day long. So in Germany now there has been done research, and there are now thoughts of like supporting Waldorf schools more. So they now the state pays 80% of like the Waldorf schools, and like 20% the parents have to pay in.
Okay.
So there are school fees actually. So it's like a bit like a private school.
Yeah.
So of course that like leaves out many people. Although if you really want to send your child to a Waldorf school, at least at our school it was like that you did not have to pay if you really said like I want my child to go there. But
now they're gonna cover more than the 80%.
Exactly.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's really good because that might open Waldorf schools to more people.
Yeah.
And then I suppose I would send my child to a Waldorf school because I'm pretty certain that is actually good for most children.
Yeah.
I can hardly imagine a child not functioning in a Waldorf school.
Exactly. Interesting. I mean, for me, what I've noticed in the debate about basic income, grundinkommen, and that sort of, what shall I say, more relief of income, if our incomes were secure anyhow, more or less, how that could open up potential for more or other type of communities, sharing more educational stuff, and also the quote-unquote homeschooling, which I have come to embrace more or less. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, for me it's very much about the most important job there is, which is to be a parent to one's child, I guess, to what that contains. So, yeah. So now you finished, you're 19 now, and you finished your gymnasium, and now you're in Hogganvik, southwest Norway, visiting friends and family in Hogganvik. And what are your plans for the next year or so? Can you say what are your out there or something? What's going on in there?
That's like a question I get from everyone.
Okay, yeah.
And I really don't know because I want to do so much. I want to actually travel basically everywhere.
Yeah, travel, yeah.
Yeah, I want to travel this year. And afterwards I suppose I want to study.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see.
And you also mentioned earlier you're going to study the archaeology?
Yeah, I would really like to. It's somehow something I've wanted to study since I was maybe 10 or so.
Yeah.
So I suppose I just want to study it for a bit just to have done it. And I think why not now?
Exactly.
I don't really want to I have the feeling in Germany that it is very strongly this system of you finish school and then you can you can take a year off, that's completely fine, everybody accepts that, but then you please go and study and then you have a job, then you buy a house, then you have children and you work and
follow the line.
Exactly, and then you have to be happy with that, and I really don't want to do that. I really don't want to fit into the system because why? It sounds so boring.
Is it also a sense of rebelling in that?
Yeah, I suppose so. I haven't been very rebellious all my life because I was just happy with the way everything was, so I suppose I have to be a rebel.
You were content. I could rebel. Oh wait, I got this. The comfort and everything. So
yeah, but I think I suppose everything was fine if I never had a reason to rebel as a teenager. Then, of course, I was a rebel against some things, I suppose. I just didn't really notice myself, but yeah.
Interesting. Rebel, Rebel. That's a song by Bowie, I think. David Bowie singing that. Rebel, Rebel, back in the 70s. Yeah. So, so now you're in Hogganvik, and we're going up to Slettedalen on Saturday. To what is going on in Slettedalen? What are we going to do in Slettedalen?
We're looking for sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, we're going to Slettedalen to gather down the sheep of Hogganvik. They are there with many other sheep, and we're going to walk the mountain to get them home again this weekend. So, yeah. Do you have anything more to say? If you'd like to add anything about Waldorf schools or education system in general, what would you? Is there any like topic or a subject type of curriculum that you would like to see in school, or change anything in particular that you would like to? What would you do? What would you like for there to be?
No, I don't think there should be anything new. I suppose I think there should be more about like literature and poetry, maybe, and like just I mean, in Germany they just cut out of the curriculum like the story of Parsifal or so. Like it's just like that is old stories like from like the place where we all come from. So like why shouldn't we know them? That's like also basic knowledge that everybody should have. I'm pretty glad we read that when we were small. Our teachers read it to us in like 5th class or so at least I know it, but many other people don't know anything about that.
About Parsifal? Yeah,
about Parsifal and like all these stories, also the stories of the Nibelungs, that's like the German national epos.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm pretty fresh with this kind of material,
and well, I like biology a lot, so just have more biology lessons.
Yeah, and more reading and more literature.
Yeah, and just like, I don't know, just to students, one should go to school to learn things. Like me and my friend, we actually went on after 10th class because we wanted to learn more, and we were always so upset when teachers would say like, oh, you have to learn this now for your final tests, and it was like, no, we want to learn it and not for our final tests.
Yeah.
Just want to go to school to learn and not for this stupid final test, which is anyway not so big as they always say it.
Yeah, so there is tests also in Waldorf school as well, and I mean, are you given like grades from when you now leave the Waldorf school this summer? Did you get any grades typically? Like this, you got a score,
Yeah, one gets it like everybody else, but one doesn't have them until 8th class. So until then, one always just gets like in the end of the year, one just gets small texts by every teacher about the pupil, how they were and how the teachers see them and where they see them and such things. Yeah, but it was always like, you have to learn this now for your final grade, and like, no, I want to learn things just to learn them.
So you're trying to what you guys still trying to do is to tell the teacher about the Waldorf way, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steiner way, that what we would have said, that we should be to nourish oneself, to inspire oneself, not just to get a good whatever degree or score. So where does the word Waldorf come from? Do you know that?
It's actually from a cigarette producer. It's
no way.
Waldorf Astoria. Yes.
Okay.
And he actually asked Rudolf Steiner to found a school for the children of his workers in his factory.
Tobacco factory.
Yes.
Okay.
So he came up with a school system, and he the owner of the factory let all his workers' children just go to school for free. Which was also something very modern.
In Germany?
Yeah, it was in Germany.
In 20s or 30s?
Yeah, I suppose in the 20s. But Waldorf Astoria, they also have like factories. They had them in America and everywhere around the world, so it was a pretty big thing.
Astoria.
Yeah, Waldorf Astoria.
Waldorf Astoria. That's the name of the cigarettes?
Mhm.
Waldorf Astoria. Interesting.
But they don't produce them anymore. But like, one can still buy some like on eBay or so.
Okay. Okay. That was news to me. There's also something to catch of interest. Yeah. So. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add to this?
No, I don't think so.
You're quite happy with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was Gerda and Tormod talking in Hogganvik this early fall 2019. Thank you very much, Gerda, for talking to me.
Yes, yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.